Hey folks, so I'm going to do a short video on why you should think about using styles in your Word documents and other documents that you produce, and then give you some tips and show you how to do it in Word and ReggieNet. So when we think about using styles, uh, sometimes we think about using them to make our documents look extra snazzy. But in terms of accessibility, using styles in your documents can really increase the accessibility of your documents, particularly for folks that use screen readers, but also for other reasons, which I'll show you here in a bit. But I thought just to give a kind of feel for what folks who use screen readers experience, I have a short clip of someone who uses a reader regularly doing an internet search, and she explains and shows why having headings and having styles embedded behind the text is so helpful for folks with screen readers. So let me bring this up. So here she is. And again, she's doing a search on Google, but the concept is the same.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to search for the calendar for the Colorado Shakespeare Festival. So I'm just going to type that in.
Colorado. Festival. State S. And
then I'm going to hit enter.
Colorado Shakespeare Festival Google search document.
And so now it's still in the focus mode. I'm going to take it out by doing escape. And then that was the click that I was kind of waiting for before. And then to navigate through the search results, I'm going to hit H to go through the different headings. That's why heading markup, having that be appropriate is important.
Heading level 2. Colorado Shakespeare Festival bar link heading level 3. Calendar link heading level 3.
There we go, the calendar for the Shakespeare Festival.
So you could hear the screen reader read to her heading level 2, heading level 3, so she could easily use that function, the H function on her screen reader, to navigate through the different headings so that she didn't have to read the entire screen in order to find the calendar. Same thing with a Word document. When you embed these styles within your Word documents, if you don't use the styles, then what people tend to have to do is have the screen reader read the whole document in order to find what they're looking for, as opposed to looking through the headers and saying, let's talk about a syllabus. I want to know about the late policy, right? They can go through the headers, and if one of the headers is late policy, then all they have to do is have the screen reader read that part of the document. So that's why it's so helpful to take the time to use styles in your documents. And once you have it set up and have a hang of it, it's actually really, really simple and fast to do. So let's take a look at how we might do it in a Word document. So I have a blank Word document here. I put in some kind of dummy headings just so we could take a look at it. Okay. And what we might tend to do, right, is if we want to make our document look more snazzy as we're organizing it, we might use, our font functions to make the headings look different. So I might use bold or different size font and things like that to make my first level headings bigger than my other headings, or I might italicize some. And while for folks that can distinguish those visually, that's helpful, a screen reader is not going to pick up those differences. So that's why having the styles is helpful. Now, the styles are listed right here, but if you're just like getting used to it, I like to just open the styles pane because then you can see everything. So what you see here is all sorts of options available to you. And once you select one of these options, it does the formatting behind the scenes to signal, for example, to a screen reader that that's heading level 1, okay? And so all you have to do, you can go ahead and it has a default style already built into Word. So you can go ahead and use that. You don't have to do anything different if you don't want to, if you're just getting started out. So for example, if I highlight my first heading level 1 and then just hit the style, it automatically changes it to the font and everything for that style. But in addition, behind the scenes, the code is there so that a screen reader could pick that up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to just go ahead and add, heading level 3. Here's another heading level 1. Okay, if I scroll through my awesome document here, I just put in a couple more so we could see how it works. Okay, so it's that easy. Once you have your style set up, it's that easy. Highlight what you want to be a style, and then you can go ahead and just select the style, and it does it all for you. Okay, and so this right here, if I had a screen reader, it would read heading level 1, and then it would say heading 1A, for example. Okay, so again, the screen reader, the person using the screen reader could use the H function to jump in between these headings. Okay. So obviously this is really helpful when it comes to folks using screen readers. It's also helpful for you, particularly for documents that are longer, because once you go ahead and use your styles, you can go ahead and automatically have the document create a table of contents for you. And so if I go to references, there's the option to add a table of contents. And there's a bunch of different styles you can do. I always open this custom table of contents screen because I like to fiddle around with things. And what you can see is it's automatically going to generate a table of contents for you and go ahead and put the page numbers in. You can choose how many levels you want to appear. So for example, I know in this document, I only have 3 levels. Okay. You can click this box right here, and not only is a table of contents, but it links, it does hyperlinks, so you can automatically press something in the table of contents, jump down to it in the document. Okay. Under modify, you can change everything that you would like about the table of contents, font, everything like that. And then under options, you also have the ability to kind of customize what your table looks like. Okay, but if I go ahead and hit OK, what it's done, it's created a table of contents for me. And even better, if I click on something in the table of contents, it automatically jumps to that. Okay, so we talked about, if we think about accessibility, the more we can incorporate things that would be considered universal design. So this isn't just helpful for folks with screen readers. This is helpful for your students who are in a hurry and need to find something fast, right? Or helpful for the students, maybe first generation students that don't know how the syllabus works, for example. They know how a table of contents works, so they could start there. Okay. So it's really fairly simple to add the code, right, that screen readers need in order to navigate your document easier. And then it makes it also, you can do things that make it accessible for other groups of your students as well. So a couple of final things I wanted to share with you. I've really tried to incorporate styles throughout my work. I go back to Firefox. So I have one of my courses pulled up on ReggieNet. And even though we all have a love-hate relationship with ReggieNet, ReggieNet actually does have styles that you can use built into it so that your ReggieNet sites become easier to navigate for folks with screen readers. And so everything you see on my site, for example, has style behind it, okay? So for example, I'm going to go into my announcements. And if I open my announcement that I sent to my class yesterday, okay, what you see is when I click on the title, for example, here, which is the format pull down, I've labeled that as heading 1. This is heading 2. I think I only go to heading 2 in my announcements. Okay, But again, for folks with screen readers, it allows them to jump around the screen to what they need. Folks without screen readers, it helps them just distinguish between the different aspects of my announcement, okay? And so I use it in my lessons as well, okay? Final thing I'll talk to you about is you can customize the way that styles work or look in Word. And so I pay attention to how things look. And so I tend to be one of those people who I'm like, yeah, I'm going to create my own custom style. Um, and so that's what I ended up doing. So so here is my syllabus for KNR 171, okay? And what I did, I just opened the styles pane that I showed you before, is you can see I've gone in and for the first 3 levels of headings, I've created my own style, okay, and the title and subtitle as well. I changed up the colors and the fonts to things that I liked. Um, and so that is available. If you click this new style, that's where you can go in and you can customize every single level of the style if you would like. Okay. So that's just if you want to do, if you know you're going to use this a lot and you kind of want to have a signature look to your documents, which I like. Okay. Again, you can see with my syllabus, I've done the table of contents. The other thing that I've done is just like it automatically does the hyperlinks for me, is I have periodically added in a back to the table of contents link. Um, and all I do there is I type the words back to the table of contents. And then I'll try it with these words just because that one's already done. If you highlight the words that you'd like to jump back up to the table of contents, you can highlight them, hit hyperlink, and then you can go into this tab called This Document, and you can jump to the top of the document, or you can jump to any of the headings you've made because you have the styles. And so, for example, with back to the table of contents, of course, right, I chose the top of the document, and then when I click that, it goes back to the top of the document. Again, just trying to make it universally more accessible for my students to navigate the syllabus. Okay. Final thing, if you are looking to kind of customize your styles, one thing I go back to is if you go to the ISU homepage, okay, I don't know how to get to it otherwise. I always use this search function. And if you search for graphic standards, this has nothing to do with accessibility, I just wanted to share it. Graphic standards, this PDF document gives you the approved colors and fonts for ISU. So if I scroll down quite a ways, somewhere down at the bottom. So if you're doing material, marking material, whatever, all the standard fonts are here. And one of the reasons why I did want to bring this up in this video is you see that we have the option of doing, these are serif fonts and sans serif fonts. And that's the last piece of accessibility that we're going to touch on here in this video. So here's the difference, right? So sans serif fonts don't have the little flares on the end that serif fonts do, okay? And so these would be considered serif fonts. These are considered sans serif fonts because they don't have the little flares at the end of the letters. Why is that important for accessibility? Well, I learned over the summer from Steph Gardner, who led a CTLT training, that screen readers, again, they read sans serif fonts easier than serif fonts. Okay, so I like serif fonts, but I've started to change over to using sans serif fonts as much as I can. Okay, so hopefully this is helpful in you thinking about how to make your documents more accessible using headings, tables of contents, and choosing a font that is easy for screen readers to handle. Good luck.